I didn't feel really comfortable or confident to just share my stuff. There were some fears of being copied, of being, my content being stolen or being laughed at. I didn't have the CEO vibe or the entrepreneurial mindset. After only 2 weeks, I was able to isolate that pattern, and that already started to lead to massive changes. I learned what letting go is, for real.
In today's Client Spotlight, we're speaking with David, a CEO of a personal development company who joined SMA to break through into new levels of personal alignment and professional success. Before joining the Self-Mastery Accelerator, David became aware of certain key areas for unconscious release and growth that were critical for him to fully step into the identity of an effective CEO. In this interview, David is going to detail just how simple it was for him to uncover and release these unconscious blocks and the direct impact it's made in his life and business.
Hello, everybody. My name is David. I am the CEO of The Limitless Mentoring. We're a personal development company. We help people to find inner alignment and be able to connect better with themselves and, as a result, with others, whether it's in their personal relationships or in their romantic relationship, or even when it comes to their career and performance. Now, I'm based in Switzerland. I'm 26 years old, and I've been working with Zach for a little bit more than 2 months now. And so I'm here on this interview to answer a few questions and tell you a little bit about the big breakthroughs that I had.
Amazing. Let's get into it. What was your initial interest in terms of what were you mostly dealing with that inspired you to connect?
Yeah, so I reached out to Zach in a very special moment in the growth of my business. I was doing regularly over $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per month with my company, running a small team, but everything was happening kind of under the table. Like, I wasn't doing any marketing. People were just referring our program to their friends, and it kind of grew the business naturally. So I wanted to scale things up and just have a better impact. And so I started to rethink my positioning, how I want to, put my voice out there and get on social media and spread the message a little bit about what we do. And that's where I started to run into some blocks. Number one, I realized that in order to do this, I really have to put myself out there. And I felt that I had some blockages inside to do it. I didn't feel really comfortable or confident to just share my stuff. There were some fears of being copied, of being, my content being stolen or being laughed at. And I didn't really understand why, because I've been doing the same, mindset work for a long time. So this was just kind of a block that I noticed and I wanted to work on it. And also I realized that as I was growing my business, I'm more of an artist type of person. I really like to help. I like the in-person contact. I just like presentations, workshops, and I'm not necessarily I didn't have the CEO vibe or the entrepreneurial mindset back then. So that's why I reached out to Zach, because I instantly resonated. I reached out to you, I'm just kind of talking to the viewer because I wanted to, I was curious how I would be able to utilize what you were doing, which was extremely aligned with me, to get over those little blocks. And I was curious where that would take me, because I knew that was kind of a big step in my progress.
Already successful in many ways, and then seeking to go beyond.
Absolutely. I would say success has never been kind of a real problem in my life, in the sense that I had this external success. I had the results. Very young, I became an athlete. Then I kind of peaked in the academic world. I was a scientist, a theoretical physicist. I published very early on. I had some great opportunities. I very quickly became a coach for another personal development company. So I was kind of achieving those external results, but there was a gap between those results and the work that I've been doing on myself I said I'm 26. I started this work very, very early on, 15 years ago already. I started to work on myself because I was very sensitive. I was someone that had a different educational background than where I grew up in Switzerland. And that always made me feel very disconnected. And somehow, not only did I feel that disconnect with people, and that's what I was working on, but then when I reached out to you, I felt that I had this disconnect between how I felt inside and the results that I had outside. There was a gap there that I didn't know how to fill, which you have really massively helped me with.
So for context, like you said, you've been inside the program working together with me for about 8 weeks now. What kind of results do you have to share?
And where do I start? So I would maybe start with the two things that I mentioned, because that's kind of why I came. And then I'm going to mention the side results. Very quickly as we're working together, just after 1 week or 2 weeks, you work in a very close way with your clients. Like, I knew on the first call that I would get the attention that I needed, and very quickly I was able to get to the kind of the roots, or at least I was able to identify that there was one core pattern, which was already a big win, right? There is not 10 patterns, and I don't have to work on, like a massive thing. It's just one thing, and if I get to the root of it and I keep focusing on it, I'm gonna get the results. And I made that decision after a few days in your program, listening to the how-tos of your releasing practices. And after only 2 weeks, I was able to isolate that pattern, and that already started to lead to massive changes. I kind of decided, okay, now I'm going to explore that even more. I'm going to see what happens when I really feel those limiting beliefs to their fullest, to their deepest. And so I started to explore how I interact with my team members, how I interact with my friends, with my family, with my romantic partners. And I constantly had this like awareness of back and forth between the triggers that would be put to me and how I can process them and what I can learn from them. After 2 weeks, I already had this massive realization. Now it's fine. Like, I can put myself out there. This is just a pattern. It's not mine. So I'd say within 2 weeks already, I was able to start putting my content out there, and it got like a very good feedback already. Like, I was very authentic, very genuine, wasn't forced. Even if I work with copywriters and things, I'm just going to be honest, it was still me, and it was clearly me. So that was just within 2 weeks. And then after 4 weeks, I identified the deeper patterns that were underneath. And I would say within 6 weeks, I fixed that. I changed that relationship with that CEO frame. And I think we had a conversation about that. But what happened to me is that I realized that this mission that I have inside, the goal that I set for myself on the inside to create an impact, to make a change, is actually a lot bigger than myself. And it's not worth having those little thoughts inside. So I was able to recognize kind of where I was bullshitting myself, or when I was trying to be a victim, or where I wanted to be the hero of my journey. And I just realized, no, like this, my company is not my company. That's the point. It's just a goal that I have for which I'm working for that right now. And I kind of surrendered to that. And instantly what happened is that I was able to talk to my business partners, to my employees. I was able to finally tell them the truth. When I was not happy with the progress, with the work, I actually fired 2 of them, which, first fires, from what I know, are very hard for a young CEO. And for me, it was actually very smooth. Like, they were almost happy that we had the conversation, because they also felt something inside that wasn't aligned with my vision and where they were at, even if they liked it. And I was able to just listen to my intuition, express myself very fluidly, very authentically, effortlessly, and get those things done. So I would say those 2 major things got solved within 6 weeks working with you. And it wasn't even like a massive work. To be honest, I didn't have the time to implement everything every day. It was just having this constant awareness and just having those touch points with you that made me, just focus on the things that I already knew, but in a way that was just smoother. So that was just after six weeks. After that, I would say the unexpected results, I can speak for like 20 minutes, to be honest, but I learned what letting go is, for real. And that's something that is, despite having taught that a lot, I've seen that in my clients, but never really fully in me. And I was able to let go of a lot of things from my past, from my childhood. I can tell some pretty fun moves that I made, but basically my parents were selling a home in the mountains that we had. That was kind of a very important place for me. And I decided one weekend that I'm going to go there and say bye to that place. And I thought it would take like an entire weekend, that I would be very emotional. I have a lot of memories there. And I went there, and on the way, I kind of saw my life happening in front of me. And I was able to realize, oh, I still have attachment with my ex-girlfriend. Oh, okay. I let go of that. I went to that place, and within an hour, I found a connection to myself, where I realized, oh, even the way I breathe in my entire life is not calm. It's not the thing that I teach. And I started to align one thing after the other. So I started to breathe differently. I started to feel differently. I started to sleep differently. And eventually, in that little excursion that I made, I let go of that place within 1 hour, realizing that, our environments can change, And sometimes we just hold on to what it makes us feel inside. And if it changes outside, you know, sometimes we can let go. We can allow ourselves to do that. And I really felt that moment where it let go of my body, where it went away. And that's such a great feeling. Like it almost makes you tired, but it makes you feel like something just gets out of the body. And that made me also connect more to my intuition. So I did something that I was kind of thinking of for a month, even before that, but I never found like the courage to do it. I wanted to go to Romania to see one of my ex-girlfriends and just have a conversation with her and clean some things. And just there, like in the moment, the next day, I decided, okay, I'm gonna go there. We had a good conversation. It helped me to clean everything that I needed. So I cleaned my relationships. I cleaned kind of my attachment to the past. I was able to be more fluid, more in flow. And as I was doing it, also what came up for me is that I was able to go to the border of Ukraine and help people over there, which was like, for me, it was pretty important with the current situation. So, I mean, going on and on with the results, the best thing that I had probably accomplished is that after that, I went to my first seminar in Mexico. I've never been doing those over there. It was probably the best thing it was the best seminar I've ever hosted. The results that my guys got were phenomenal. I was extremely on point, very aligned. My feedback was perfect. My energy was there. And I woke up every day of that workshop doing my own, like meditations processes. After each of them, I started to cry from gratitude of where I was in the moment and like how things have evolved and the people that I was able to meet. And I started to make beautiful connections. I had people that reached out to me for my business to connect with me, to be part of my journey. Even now, actually, like almost every day I have someone who is like, oh, can I, contribute to this? It looks great. It looks beautiful. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, you don't have to pay you, just come because you wanted. Let's see what happens. It's very interesting. It's beautiful. And even on a personal level, I started to meet women in a different way. So I started as a dating coach. So obviously that was my domain of expertise. And it's something that I attached kind of a expectation or responsibility on myself. And I knew for a long time that over a year that it's something that I want to change. I don't want to have that identity attached to me all the time. And doing this work with you, I suddenly started to attract partners that were exactly aligned with where I was in the moment, that gave me exactly this connection that I was looking for effortlessly. Like there was no, the kind of love at first sight kind of thing, instant connection. So from letting go from old exes, I found new girls, very effortlessly. I have this fun fact where I myself had such a great energy one day when I was going shopping in my town that I was approached by a girl, and like she herself took my number, and it was like those kind of things are like small things that I didn't expect that just turned into beautiful surprises. And then I'm keeping working on myself, and now other things come up, and I'm sure it's going to go even deeper than that.
Wow.
Here's the summary.
Yeah, that's a great summary. Some of the things that really in terms of a theme or a pattern, the pattern that I'm noticing about what you just shared is when you align to a new level of beingness, you start to attract new business partners, new clients, personal relationships. And this happens as a consequence of who you've become after having let go of, released the blockages, what you were holding on to that was preventing a level of beingness. So you're describing, for example, in the retreat, in the seminar that you ran in Mexico, you were attracting people that were so inspired by what you were doing that they just wanted to be involved. You were led to having that release moment at the family home, and the release was more effortless. Then when you're walking around your hometown, you're attracting girls to you as a consequence of who you've aligned to. And one of the main things that we teach in SMA is letting go of who we used to be in thought, feeling, and behavior, which enables us to align to a higher level of beingness. Having aligned to this higher level of beingness, our external experience of reality changes as a consequence. And to me, when you were highlighting all of these different areas that you've noticed change in, that's what really stood out to me. Would you say that's kind of one of the overarching themes throughout this?
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up. For me personally, when I look, when I'm on a call with a client and I'm trying to see if he's a good fit, even if I think that he would be a good fit, he would learn a lot. If I don't see that this person is willing to change and to evolve, it's a no. And I say no to big contracts for that reason, because it's not going to bring the same success. And when I found you, I knew I was ready to make that evolution. It was already like it was a blossoming flower. I just needed someone to just pin it, and it will just flourish. And that's also why when I just found your profile, not really knowing what you were doing, I just saw like one or two. I knew that you were into the scale of consciousness and releasing, so it felt aligned with me. But instantly, I knew, for some reason, I knew, okay, this is the way to go, period. And I didn't really look back. I decided to make the decision very quickly. I felt it was aligned, and I knew that if I just apply this to what I already have done, because I'm doing the work, it's going to lead to those results. So yes, I think the alignment in the moment and being able to feel what's right, what's wrong, and be in the body, very connected to that presence. That was the overarching theme of my progress. Yes, like absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How would you say this program differentiates from what you've experienced in the past? Because you said you've done a lot of different things before. What would you say stood out here?
Well, one answer is you. Like, honestly, it's that simple, right? I think it's clear from the way you speak inside the program with the people that you have embodied those tools and embodies those methods, and therefore you are able to really guide us. I mean, me, myself, into that deeper subconscious. And that's the most important thing, because when it comes to sharing those very personal things, like I shared some patterns with you on a group setting that genuinely I feel nobody can really relate to, and that are so deep and shameful that like it's not necessarily something that I would do, even if I'm very open about it, right? And you made it so that I felt safe and comfortable going into those uncomfortable places. So I think we need mentors to help us go beyond our limitations, but what we need is to trust those people to be able to take us where we would never go ourselves. And that's what made this program really different. And I think everyone in the program would agree with that fact, is that we all feel that you are someone who, like, you're not gonna, what's the word? You're not gonna give up on us, That's I would say the main difference. Plus, obviously, like, your knowledge is crazy. Like when we listen to you, it's like, being in that space myself, I always talk to a lot of people, and all the time in my head there, because I kind of outgrew all my mentors extremely fast in almost every area. And I always have this kind of apprehension of, well, there are things that they don't get. Like, they're good maybe at what they do. They want us to model that, but you were extremely open. Like, there was no point where you kind of forced something on me, or where you made me feel that I have to follow your method or your past. You really helped me to tailor what I was doing with your tools, with your approach, with your mindset, with your feedback, so that I can find my own answers. And that's the other thing that I think is beautiful in this program, is like, that's the right mindset. You don't force people into an approach. There is this thing in personal development that I think it's very dangerous. It's follow a proven path to a proven result. Basically, model someone is going to get you there faster. And I don't agree with that, because nobody has ever taken the path inside myself, So that's not how I wanted it. And you provided the support that I needed to get to that deeper level. So yeah, to sum it up, number one, your own personality and your person, that made it very easy to trust and to surrender to the process, to integrate that to my own. As a coach in that space, like, there is a lot of pride. Like, I'm not going to take the tools of someone else and suddenly be like, oh, my tools, they don't work. I'm going to, implement something else. So that trust was real. I decided, okay, I'm going to take that, implement it diligently, not think what I know is probably better, not question the things that I'm not sure about, just do it completely. And then integrated that into my own practices. And that's kind of a sign of trust. And the second thing was the way you approach this work as a, like, you're dedicated to it, and you make us also as clients feel that it's not just going to be and you make it very clear. It's not just, an 8-week long journey. It's like a very long journey. It's a new way of looking at the world. of seeing everything as a, as a teacher, to get out of that victim mindset so that we can take responsibility over what happens, whether it's like what are the problems that can arise. Like it can be insomnia lately. I don't feel like a victim of that, because it's something that I know if I just focus on it and I connect to myself, I can let go of it somehow. And that's what I learned in this program.
Amazingly said, David. The fact that you came in with the open mind, which is humility, and because you mentioned pride, right? And that's can be a real stumbling block for a lot of people, especially those who are already leaders in their own right, in their own field. And yeah, and when someone comes into any kind of program or pathway and they say, I'm here to be open and willing to learn, to me, that's a real indication of true leadership. It's the wise man that continuously is committed to learning. And that's how they get to those levels of mastery. So the fact that you pointed that out is a really powerful teaching point to everyone listening to this video as well, because that is the difference that makes the difference with people who go into programs or any kind of training, and some who don't get the results and those that do. And those who don't get the results are always looking at those who do and going, what was different about them? Why did they win? Why did they get the results? And 9 times out of 10, it's the fact that they came in as an open book. They put aside what they already know, where they've come from, and they just say, look, I'm here to get the results. I'm here to learn. Show me the way. And that is the sign of an awesome client.
Thanks a lot. I totally agree with everything you said. I would say like the first thing that I realized was I found a lot of similarities in you. Like I knew from the beginning that we probably share a lot of things in terms of how we feel inside, our blockages, what needs to be opened. No matter where, where we're on the pathway, there's definitely things that I felt we might connect on. And so for me, it was kind of I didn't even think about it. I was like, this guy is a lot older than me and he has a lot more experience. Like I would be insane to not learn from that guy and not be very open, because not even will he share his path, but he can already see my own path because he knows me somehow. Right. And that's another thing that is kind of important, is to resonate with, like I resonated with you. And that also made me, the decision to buy wasn't made on a logical argument. It was just, well, I saw your profile, I saw the description, I saw one of your posts, I saw how you spoke about the scale of consciousness. Instantly, it was clear that you were an expert in the field, which is actually pretty rare, to be honest, from my honest opinion. And then boom, it's done. Like I knew that, okay, this guy has, he has it, and he can tell me how I don't have it, which is what I'm always looking for, like, because you can achieve that. And maybe in terms of, revenue, I was making a lot or something like that, but I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for people who are able to tell me where I'm not there yet and where I can make the next step, because every time it opens something else, and I feel that it would be like a huge disservice to my team members, to the people that I have in my life, if I didn't make that work, if you see what I mean. So
yes. Completely. Finally here, David, if you could speak to someone who's watching this video who may be on the fence, they know they need the change, they know they're dealing with something, but they're uncertain, what would you say to that person?
Like I made such deep change on every area. I'm talking about health. Another side effect that I didn't mention, like as I was changing my patterns of breathing, because I was more conscious of myself, I suddenly started to see a six-pack, something that might not resonate with everybody, but since I was a kid and I felt that disconnect, I built that defense mechanism of overeating and eating sugar. And so no matter how performant I was, and I remind you, I was an athlete, like I was a pro athlete. I was training 8 times a week and I never saw that six-pack. There was always that belly there. And I detached myself from the feeling of being judged or all that, but myself in front of the mirror, I was always thinking about it. Like I can't lie about it. And that was an unexpected result that is so deep, because it's something that comes from my childhood. It's something that I'm always trying to fix, so much struggle. And this, without even focusing on it, it just went away, and it appeared magically. So whether it's in your business life or your personal or your relationships, this inner work is what matters. And that's what I would say to the person. is you need, like, it's needed. It's something that is necessary. Whether it's with Zach or someone else, just go with the person you resonate with the most. I went with Zach. I think that's what I would say to someone, you know, just see with whom you resonate and go with him. But my testimony is that Zach is amazing. That's what I would say.
Beautiful. So well said, David. Thank you so much, man. It has been such an honor and a pleasure for me to coach with you and work with you. So congratulations on all your success thus far. I look forward to continuously watching you win as we're still working together. All my very best, brother. Thank you.
I have to thank you.